This is the Prophetic Seer, PropheticSeer.com, and YouTube /Prophetic Seer. Here's an interesting story. A grim Russian Federal Security Service report prepared for Prime Minister Putin states that a British Security Intelligence Service, SIS, also known as MI6, hit team, was behind the assassination of Matthew Simmons, who was one of the United States' top oil experts and the most outspoken critic of the U.S. and BP's handling of the Gulf of Mexico oil leak catastrophe. According to this report, Simmons' assassination was ordered by SIS Chief John Sawyers after he met with Britain's top business leaders who warned that the continued sinking of BP's stock price because of the Gulf oil disaster posed a danger to the entire economy, as the oil giant's economic health was deemed vital to the British government's plan to cut budget deficits and balance its books. What made Simmons particularly dangerous to BP, this report continues, was the authority from which he warned that the United States and BP were covering up the true extent of the disaster and were keeping the American people's attention diverted from the true site of the massive underwater oil leak, which he said was located nearly 5 to 6 miles from the wellhead, said responsible for this catastrophe. Simmons' authority to be heard as an expert on this disaster rested on being one of the United States' top oil insiders as a former advisor to President Bush, and his being a member of the influential National Petroleum Council and the Council on Foreign Relations. Simmons had also earned the ire of both U.S. and European oil giants and the governments backing them after the 2005 publication of his book Twilight in the Desert, The Coming Saudi Oil Shock and the World Economy, wherein he used 200 technical papers published over the last 20 years to unmask the truth about the wars being fought around the world for oil that our planet is fast running out of. Important to note that Simmons is not the only high-level target assassinated by SIS hit teams, as they have previously been implicated in the suiciding of the former British UN weapons inspector David Kelly, who was killed after his leaking to the BBC that prior to the invasion of Iraq, no weapons of mass destruction were found, but were being used as an excuse for the U.S. and its allies to capture all of Iraq's oil and natural gas reserves. Also interesting to note that the former British Prime Minister Tony Blair halted the inquest into Dr. Kelly's death and set up what was called the Hutton Inquiry, which ruled his death a suicide, and then secretly classified all the evidence in the case for 70 years, in spite of the testimony of a leading American UN weapons inspector, Dr. Richard Spurzel, that Kelly was on a U.S.-British hit list during the final years of his life. So here's the article. I will put, if you guys want to slow down the video, you can read it all. I got it here. And it's kind of interesting. I don't want to read the whole thing, but you guys can check it out. I think you'll find it interesting. Just keep up on the latest news and see how all the pieces are fitting in the puzzle to bring about the end times and reveal who the Antichrist is. Who might it be? Could it be Satan?
Could it be Satan?
If anybody remembers that old clip from Saturday Night Live, I thought that was kind of funny. The church chat lady. All right. See you guys. God bless.